Scott Williamson here from Pellet Stove Parts for Less, and today we have the Harman P-61. I have it turned around backwards on the lift right now, and I'm going to show you how to service the components here on the back of the stove. So 1, 2, 3, 4 panels that we'll take off, and to do that you're going to use a 8mm socket or a 5/16. And we don't have to take the screws out, we just have to loosen them. And we're going to lift up and we're going to take this over the heads. This is where this little guy right here, this is where our room sensor probe is going to attach. And this one right here, it's really hard to slip it up over the head with this piece there. So a lot of times I will physically take this screw right out, just like so, and then we can lift up over. And this is going to be a wiring schematic, and there's 2 little tabs right here, and those fit onto those guys right there. Okay. Now we're going to release this panel right here, and this panel, to get to that, there's a screw here and a screw here. And again, we don't have to take them out. We can just loosen them up. Off of that one, and that one's off of that one. And there we go. So on this panel right here, there's a little cutout right here, and if you had an air intake installed, we would just pop this piece out right here. Main panel off and the under panel. Now we'll take off these 2 side panels, and those are done with 2 screws on either side. And again, we don't have to take those out, we just need to loosen them up. All of the P-Series stoves are kind of exactly the same. They're going to use the same auger motor, they're going to have the same location of everything, they're going to use the same exhaust motor, and they're going to use the same blower motor. So to get the distribution blower motor out, that's going to be located down over here. You're going to want to take this out, I don't know, once a year maybe, or at least look in from this side over here and make sure that the blower wheel is free and clear of debris. If your blower motor needs to be replaced, you can get to it. It has 2 mounting screws, and they're on this side and on this side of the blower. And if you don't mind crawling around on the ground, you can actually just take off this lower side panel to get to it. But it's easier if you can spin the unit around, disconnect the exhaust, and then you can get your socket wrench on the nuts. This is a 3/8 or 10mm, and one of them is located right here on the side, so it's easily accessible from down over there. But the other one is located up here, and to get to this one, if you were down here on the side, you're going to have to kind of feel around to get the socket on there, and it's somewhat difficult. You may have to actually come in from the back to get your socket wrench on it. And getting your socket wrench on it to take it off can be a little bit of a challenge, but I can tell you what, putting it back together is a little bit harder because you have to feel around for the mounting hole with your hand. So a lot of times disconnecting from right here and spinning the stove around is a whole lot easier. There we go, there's the other one. Now you can see that the motor is taken off of the mount from the back of the stove, and then to get it out and out of the stove, we're going to have to cut a zip tie. So there's going to be one zip tie holding it there. We'll get that one off. And then we have one more right here. And then we have to follow the wires. There's going to be a grounding wire for this. Take it off, it's mounted right there on that. And then there's actually one more zip tie right here. And then the wires for the color code, you're going to have one white wire and you're going to have a blue wire. And this is for the same for all Harman stoves. The distribution blower is always on the blue wire, the dark blue wire, because there are some light blue wires too. So the dark blue wire and this white. And there is a white common for pretty much all of the components. So if you're doing a big replacement or cleaning of the unit and you're unplugging everything, make sure you label your wires, because it's going to be very difficult to figure out exactly which ones go where, because every component has a home run back to the board on a white wire. It's not a daisy chain. So here's our distribution blower right here, and so this is our blower wheel inside here, and you're going to want to clean that out once a year. That should freely spin by hand, very easy spinning. And we have a vibration mount right there, and that's going to kiss up against this plate right here, and that keeps the stove from vibrating when this thing is running. And to clean the inside of this out, you can basically just use a brush or an air compressor, blast it out, and then we can reinstall it. If you have a new motor that you're going to be putting in, the mounting holes is the middle one on each side, middle and middle. So now we have our blower motor, and we're going to mount it back into the stove, and it comes in from down below, and it's going to mount right there in that position. And you're going to want to do that top screw that you can't really see or get to first. It'll make everything else a lot easier. And it's still really hard to see. But there's going to be one mounting hole right there, and here is our opening, and the other mounting hole is right up in there. The easiest way to do this is take your screw that's on the far side, kind of in the blind area, and put it through the hole. And then take your socket wrench with a long extension, put it on the screw, make sure that you're in the tightening position, and then move the motor up into position and kind of feel around for the hole right there. And then before you tighten it, grab our other one, finger tight that one into the hole, and then we're going to use our socket wrench to tighten either one of them up first. It doesn't really matter which one. And there's no gasket for this. The blower just mounts directly to the back of the stove. Just like so. And then we'll get the other one that's hard to see. There we go. Now our blower is mounted securely on there. We're going to take our wires, grab the yellow and green wire from over on this side, and you're going to apply that disconnect right to this little tab right there. Now it's grounded. Take your black wire connect that to the blue wire and take your white wire and connect that to your open spade on the wiring harness for the white wire.